No. No, no, no.
Tessa's desperation.
What happens now?
I love, like, it totally comes across without many words or anything, just through the expressions on Joel's face, which is, I've put up with this long enough.
Right.
This is over. I've indulged you enough,
Where's
Tess.
this lab of theirs?
Oh, she never said. She only mentioned that it was someplace out west.
What are we doing here? This is
Yeah,
not.
that calm, pacifying, trying to talk some sense into you.
I know that you are smarter than this.
Really?
Right.
Guess what? We're shitty people, Joel. It's been that way for a long
I
time.
love the fact that her character,
It is over, Tess.
she knows she's gonna die any minute, but she's still holding on to so much hope
Go
Yeah.
home.
I'm not
that, well, she's different.
going anywhere.
Right.
Look at her bite. The world could still change.
And it's kind of this theme that, like, this idea of, I've done all this crappy things, but it's all okay if I could do this one thing right.
Right.
And then that kind of moves over to Ellie. And we see that theme later when Ellie, like, talks about it can't be for nothing.
I got to point this out. Everybody else, because this was a part of the audition scene too, everyone else did that, don't touch me. They screamed it out. And I love the way she did that, where it was like that first, don't touch me. And it's
Yeah.
just that realization. And I love the fact that Ellie's the one that figures it out, not Joel.
Oh, Christ.
And again, the back and forth Annie's doing between this freaking badass to such vulnerability and constantly jumping back and forth. And she brought that every take. We're all like, because every take she's like full on crying by the end of it.
She's incredible. You're right. She's such a badass, but she was so vulnerable at the same time. It's just such a,
Shows
Hard
two
thing to
sides of the
play.
same strength too.
God, I'm such an Annie fan.
You have to feel some sort of obligation to me, so you get her to Tommy's.
I remember you coming out of a take, and Troy's like, look at me, he's like, you don't understand. You're not right there staring into her eyes.
I can buy you some time, but you have to run.
You want us to just leave you here?
Yes.
There's no way that.
This moment where, like, Joel's like in denial. It's like, there's something I could do. Not even understanding, like, she's gone. She's already gone. There's nothing he could do right now.
And also she is just laser-eyed on Joel doing that, even though she's talking to Ellie.
No, just go. This fucking
Tess has to snap him out of it. It's like, you know that you have to do it.
Ellie.
And I believe this is the first time Joel refers to Ellie by her name. I don't think anywhere else in the game he does that. Beforehand. And again, it was important to stay. We stay with Tess, just showing. Here's her emotions finally coming through when Joel is gone. I like how I don't remember if we talked about this, but Ellie has just this, clearly a problem with authority, where somebody's telling her what to do.
Yeah, for sure. I think that also, I have a problem with authority. So that came out a little bit in Ellie.
Tess, I don't even know what
Here's how this thing's gonna play out. You don't bring up Tess.
Yeah, that's so. Joel knows what he needs to do to survive, which is just let go. Needs to let go fast of these things, or they will kill you.
Don't tell anybody about your condition. They
That's
think you're
great.
crazy little
I love that he refers to
And lastly, you
that as her
Condition.
You can barely acknowledge. Just
We're
he's still
trying to search for the term for it. You being the whole cure for humanity thing.
Good.
I love that he
Close
says
enough.
good, but the subtext is clearly like, all right, good enough.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna get out of this kid.
Good chance he could get us a car.
Okay.
Let's get a move on.
Hey, it's Bill.
Lovely Earl Brown.
Whoop whoop.
I remember you were kind of geeking out when you auditioned with him.
I was. We saw like a lot of people for Bill, and there was a lot of like stars that came in. I was really surprised. Like, but then when he walked in, I was like, holy crap, it's Dan Dougherty from Deadwood.
He's amazing to work with. I've worked with him before a while ago, and I just love working with him.
You actually hit him in this scene in the face.
That's right.
I did.
Right there, and we kept it. And he kept going. What a trooper.
That's one of my favorite things. Is when he goes, am I
Yeah.
dead?
He was sick that day.
Yeah.
He was like getting over a cold.
I did hit him, and I felt so bad because it was a complete accident. I think I didn't realize my swing was going a lot faster than I thought it was.
Of many people that you hit during the shoot of this project.
Yeah.
Getting
It
into character.
happens.
Well, I also love this business that he's doing here too. That was something that he completely made up. He's like, you know, working on the sword and.
I love this.
I need you to shut up.
Again, I love this moment. This paternal thing. Like, just shut up, kid. I need to handle this.
He's always a dad.
Actually, Bill, they are. Well, it don't matter because I don't have a car that works. But there is one in this town.
Parts. There are parts in this town.
Meaning that you could fix one up. All right.
It gives in.
And I love just taking that time. Take that pause.
All right, it's on the other side of town. Now you help me go gather it, and maybe I can put something together that runs. But after this, I owe you nothing.
That's fine. A couple of days from now, we'll probably be dead anyway.
And it's like opening handcuffs, but again, I see it as this almost tender moment between Joel and
Stay
Ellie.
right on my ass.
Can't miss it.
Another great Ellie line. Smart ass.
Remember the rehearsal for all these scenes? So we would shoot these things in chunks. So we'd bring like Earl in and Ashley and Troy and just shoot we're going to shoot the whole Bill sequence. And talking to Bill, and he's about to talk about a partner that he's had. We've talked, there was a question that brought up, is like, what kind of partner is this? And Earl asked, is Bill gay? And I said, well, he could be. I mean, it's really up to you.
Well, no, you gave the standard response of,
What do you think? Because I really want him to own it. I thought he was when I wrote the part, but I really wanted the actor to own it, and he did. I mean, he made that decision to make him a gay character. And again, it's not something we ever explicitly say, except for the magazine that Ellie steals.
Right. But again, instead of making that a point in something, it's just a cute little piece of exposition.
Let me tell you a story.
Well, and from a narrative structural standpoint, what Bill is there to show is, here's what happens when you survive on your own in this world. It's like you're alone and miserable and a little bit crazy, and it's what could happen to Joel if he keeps going down this path of just doing whatever he takes to survive.
So you know what I did? Wisen the fuck up.
And also, Bill is there to kind of give Joel the warning. It's like, you go down this world, you care for people, you will get hurt.
Hey! What'd I say to you when we walked down the steps?
And that's where Ellie has stolen a bunch of Bill's stuff.
I love that flips him off.
God damn it. You keep babysitting long enough and eventually
I love that line of fixing the stupid pile. Because I feel like that's something a kid would say when you're trying to cover, when you're
Right.
nothing specific.
I was just stealing all your stuff.
Fix the pencils over here.
Oh, this is the one where we abused Troy. I was like, you have to fly face first into the ground. And he's like, but I should roll. No, fly face first into the ground.
Yeah. It was like, well, if I roll this way, then actually, they're like, it looks too ninja when you can't do it. So I literally just had to eat shit time after time again. It's like seeing stars. It was great.
Please tell me you're done.
Yeah, just you guys are acting against nothing. There's nothing there.
And something we always had to remember was bring the tension back.
Left too that he closes a glass door like that's gonna do much.
Yeah, right.
So that worked out well.
Oh, the thing I love here is that, that Bill constantly brings up Tess, not knowing that
Right.
Tess is dead because Joel doesn't want to talk about it.
Right.
But here it gets to Joel. And this is something that you guys actually just improvised. That wasn't in the script, this big fight that happens here. It was much more low-key in the script.
Yeah, once he brings up Tess, that was something we kind of keyed in on.
Jesus. What, you know this guy or something?
Frank.
Who the hell's Frank?
He was my partner.
They're both kind of lying to each other. If you think about the previous scene, right? He mentioned this partner, but almost like I didn't care about him. I let him go, and you realize that's not the truth at all. He
Right.
really cared for this guy, and this guy probably left him.
Yeah.
He's got
I love how clinical he is about this.
here.
With that look on his face says everything.
Well, that turn too that Earl did with, he realizes Joel is looking at him and he's being vulnerable right now, and he puts the mask back on.
Yeah.
And I remember like seeing that moment from Earl, I was like, yeah, we cast the right guy.
Well, fuck him.
And then that turn right there. Which again is kind of why Bill, what purpose Bill serves in the story, is to show that having those moments of emotion, there's nothing he feels, there's nothing but weakness.
Get out. Get out.
I love it.
That relationship between the two of you
I
was
love
so
it.
good. That's what was great about the cast, is constantly having to switch from these really serious, dramatic vulnerabilities to playing tough, right? Because that's what you kind of have to do in this world, is let your humanity come out, but then learn when to shut that off to survive. And also, you're seeing, it's very subtle here, but you're starting to see this change in Joel, where he's given Ellie more and more responsibility. He's trusting her. Instead of just saying, stay out of my way, he's like,
Right.
I need your help.
This is a good point that, you know, in case people weren't aware of the process. I mean, everyone at this stage, we had such great sets, even though it's kind of rudimentary, but they actually built a truck for us, and we used that truck so many times. But I think this was the last scene that we shot with Earl.
Yeah, and rehearsal, that I would try to give you guys as much of concept art and videos that we had,
Right.
so you can imagine the space, because you have nothing there to act off of, except each other.
That's right.
You guys have each other.
It's true.
And I love this exchange between Bill and Joel too, because you know it's Joel trying to kind of apologize for an awkward situation and trying to show some sensitivity to him, and Bill just completely glosses over it. And
The thing with Joel that I kind of admire, like, he can't come up with the right words. He can never come up with the right words. I was like, it's like a half sentence. He's like, so, yeah.
And Bill kind of finishes that for him, but it's
Which really helps my writing. This theme comes in here because to show Joel's now alone with Ellie, but the relationship has changed. This is starting to become that theme we heard in the beginning with Sarah. Now we're getting into the first scene we ever shot, and this is your guys' edition right here.
yeah.
Yeah, this was the first audition scene when I came in,
Okay.
when I read for you guys, along with another scene that I don't know if it's in the
It's,
game or it
it's not in the
probably
game.
changed a little
It's
bit.
like the scene with the Walkman.
Yeah, the scene with the Walkman.
There's a scene. There was the scene kind of like it, but it's pretty different.
Back at Bill's. I mean, all this stuff was just lying there.
What else did you get?
Well, and I especially love this because, especially at this point, we had no idea
Here.
who Bill really was.
That is actually before my...
How many times did we come back to this scene? Like at
God,
least 3 times.
Yeah, at least 3 times. I love what she says. I was like, hey, you know who this is? And the different versions of songs that we ran through with this too is great.
I'm sure your friend will be missing this tonight.
That's the guy on the cover is John Sweeney, one of our concept artists.
That's awesome.
How the hell would he even want
Is the centerfold also his penis?
We should have that unlockable. You could see what she's looking at.
Yeah. Get your subscription to Bearskin Magazine today.
I'm just fucking with you.
And the awkwardness of that moment.
But it's also such a great moment of levity between the two of them.
I don't know, that's kind of a way of her complimenting him or trying to bond with him.
Yeah.
And it's something I was very conscious of when like writing this stuff. It was like, this is making me uncomfortable here on the page. I have to leave it as is.
Yeah. That's your litmus test.
I'm tired.
I love that. Not even tired. Cut to passed out. This is the first scene, because it was part of that reveal trailer. It's the first scene that I ever saw put together fully, and I was just absolutely blown away how good it looked. It was the first time I'd actually seen, you know, real flesh and bone put on Joel and Ellie.
And the yawn we added after the fact.
I remember
Yeah.
Because
that.
we were like, she doesn't have a yawn. She should have a yawn when she wakes up. And then you were yawning on the set, and we're all yawning because it's contagious.
I know, just watching that, I just yawned. I tried to be quiet about it.
I love that this moment of silence and kind of peacefulness is broken up by this.
Are we gonna help?
So Joel knows this trick.
What about the guy?
He knows it because he's done this before.
Right. Poor John Bentley. And I love again how that music is playing not as a score, but coming from the car. It's just great.
I believe that was Ruben that we hit and
Yeah,
had
that
him
was
fly,
Ruben.
fly off the truck like that. This was also the first really dramatic scene we shot, and it became kind of the touchstone for how the characters should look when they're
I feel sick.
really pushed.
It's so interesting when she's, you know, again, it's this moment of vulnerability when she says, I feel sick, and Joel's,
Glad I didn't, right?
again, being very didactic and pushing her away.
Goddamn kid.
She stands up for herself. This is the first time she stood up for herself.
How about, hey, Ellie, I know it wasn't easy, but it was either him or me.
And I love that
Thank you
line,
for saving my ass.
you know, it's either him or me.
Anything like that
Come
for
back
me,
to that.
Joel?
And he can't do it. He can't admit that she saved his life.
Lead the way.
So this is, in the story, the first time Joel really is trusting Ellie and seeing her as pretty much an equal to him. That he has to rely on her to survive in this world.
This is
Survive
one of the
this journey.
first cinematics that we saw too, and we just,
Yeah.
it's still one of our favorites. We keep coming back to it and laughing, because I love this exchange between the two of
What
them.
about me?
You stay here.
This is so stupid. We'd have more of a fucking chance if you let me help.
I am. You seem to know your way around a gun. You reckon you can handle that?
Well, I sort of shot a rifle before.
He's like, shit, rats, that's it? Fuck.
BBs.
That line. Oh shit, here's what we gotta work with.
We usually avoid these kind of cameras that rotate around something that are trying to do too much, but it felt like this moment kind of needed it.
Yeah, I love
It's
it.
a weird parent-kid moment.
Yeah.
As soon as you fire,
But he's teaching her how to shoot to kill.
Get another round in there quick. Listen to me. If I get into trouble,
There's a really nice,
every
when I watched like Ellie's performance, this balance between she's trying to be a hard ass, but you could see in her eyes she's kind of terrified of the situation.
Yeah.
But even in this, there's almost a little bit of excitement there too. Either whether it's about the reality of her killing isn't real, or if it's just, I have an opportunity to make Joel proud.
Opening up, opening up.
You're welcome.
Such an interesting look on your face here, because it's almost like I did good, but then you feel horrified by it. So interesting.
It's like, even though Ellie's used to killing, used to seeing this stuff in this world, it was still important to show this is having an effect on her.
Right.
And you're going to see that kind of carry throughout the game.
Well, it also kind of carries over into this moment as well too, because I realized what I just put her through. And I love the way that, you know, we took that away from her. It's like almost gingerly. It's like, give me that.
It's like you can't really compliment it because
Right. You did
just what
good.
you
Yeah,
had,
there's no
yeah.
pat on the back.
About something
But then I turn around and I give her this, and it's like
a little more yours.
you said, there's a sadness to it.
Yeah. It's sad that in this world, these are the things that you have to bond over. Like, here's your gun.
And that's the reward.
Yeah.
But that knot of understanding is great.
Brandon and Najee.
There you go.
Yep.
Brandon, I think, had the hardest audition of anyone.
no kidding.
Because I literally almost took off his head. Not in this scene, not punching him. That fortunately was done by Ruben Langdon, who can punch way better than I can.
Leave him alone.
And Najee, too, when he came in red for Sam, that had that,
It's all right. They're not the bad guys. Lower the
just this kid that's kind of terrified to live in this world.
Yeah.
Man, you hit hard.
Yeah, well, I was trying to kill you.
And these two characters are really showing, they're kind of a mirror of Joel and Ellie's relationship.
If you haven't noticed, they don't keep kids.
And it's another warning for Joel, like this whole arc for Henry and Sam of what's going to happen if you stick with this girl. You're going to go through what these two characters are going to eventually end up.
I do like that Sam is a character that
Name was Joel.
seems genuinely scared, because a lot of the other characters
We don't know that.
can tend to be a little bit more badassy,
Right.
and he's just,
Brilliant idea of
he's young and he's scared. And I
Yes.
love that.
To me, he also comes across very sullen. Like
Yeah.
there's like just a little glimmer of hope and joy, but it's almost like anytime there is a moment of that, then Henry kind of takes that away from
It
him.
also gives Ellie an opportunity to play a mentor of sorts for him.
Got a hideout not too far from
Yeah.
here. Be safer if we chat there.
All right, take us there.